Well, what's up, folks? Episode 139 tonight. I'll be hosting the show. Angels taking care of business, broadcasting the Tampa Bay Titans tonight, who are in the playoffs. Tonight we got Raichele Privette from Bleeding Green Nation. We got Matt Rogers in the house, and we got DJ Montage behind the glass. Hope everybody's good on this Friday Eve. Let's get the show rocking. Let's dive in right into some Eagles talk and a little NBA Finals. This is episode 139, Broad Street South. This is Mike Fuji, co-host. Let's get the parties rocking tonight. Let's go. Well, everybody, how you doing tonight? It's Friday Eve. In July, Phil's finally got one last night, losing 2-3 from the San Francisco Giants. Not much to talk about. The Eagles are on the docket as always. You know, the best talk in town, the number one team. Tonight, we got Raichele Privette, as I stated, from Bleeding Green Nation. Matt Rogers from the Pilot O podcast. Hey,
hello,
Raichele. How are you tonight?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, we appreciate you coming on. I know we were going back and forth for the last couple months, setting up a date. How's your evening going?
Really good. Really good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to dive in tonight. As far as you got a pretty Matt, how are you? Matt,
hello.
Raichele.
Hi.
Raichele, Matt. Bear with me. Angel usually runs point here. I'm just filling in for him this evening. Raichele, just to jump right into it, you got a pretty impressive resume as far as your, besides BGN and your own website. If you could just talk about, a little bit about your background and how you got involved in sports and communications.
Yeah, sure. So Raichele Privette, I am the current audio producer / host for BGN Radio right now. I went to Hampton University, graduated from Georgetown University for grad school, went to Hampton for undergrad. And that's really where I got my start, just working with the football team, working with the basketball team, traveling with the team. They allowed me to do reporter sideline interviews. So that's when I kind of got that love for covering the game. And then just got some really awesome mentors, got some really awesome opportunities after I graduated. I got to I got to intern with in Bristol, Connecticut at ESPN. So that kind of helped me skyrocket, just meeting different people there. I did end up going and interning with the Washington Commanders. So that was cool. I actually live in the DMV area. So
okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I live in Maryland.
Okay.
So I did that. I interned with DC United, so got some soccer coverage experience. That was cool too, and just continued to meet people. And now I'm here. I did some stuff with NBC Sports Washington, covering the DMV team. So I got just meeting different people, and people referring me to others. I did some sideline reporting with the University of Maryland, and it just all kind of helped me get those reps in and just build my portfolio and get more and more experience. And now I'm here.
So you pretty much got, all your bases covered. I mean, under your resume, your website. You work with Brandon Lee Gowden at BGN.
Yes.
A good friend of the show, friend of Angels. How long have you been working with Bleeding Green Nation?
A little over a year. So I hit a year in, I think it was March. So not too long, but they're all amazing. Like BLG, literally the GOAT, credit him for this opportunity and just, the foundation of starting all of this. So they help me, they encourage me, and they do phenomenal work. So I'm really just riding along with them.
I saw your Twitter feed that you interviewed, I believe, Fletcher Cox and Devontae Smith.
Yes. Both really fun.
Any other Eagles that you?
I got to Jalen Hurts last year.
I saw that. That was awesome.
Thank you so much. That was a ton of fun. And yeah, those are the only 3 that I've done so far. So hopefully, fingers crossed, some more will be coming soon.
Just to dive right in now with the OTAs kicking off in like a month and a half leading up to training camp. Were you able to attend the OTAs, or is that blocked off to the media completely?
To my understand, like certain days are blocked off. So we have
Right.
covered, like I know BLG and Seamus will be there tomorrow, but I'm remote, so I will not be attending. Just pretty
Uh,
much like, editing the podcast once they send them my way.
I mean, as far as the Eagles, I mean, Howie's had God, I take my hat off to him. I believe he just shocked the world as far as, this offseason going out and getting A.J. Brown, Jordan Davis, N'Kobe Dean, just picking up James Bradbury. What's your take? I mean, just with, working with BGN and what the outlook of the Eagles for the 2022 campaign.
I mean, that's 2 back-to-back seasons that he's done something right. And I remember when the article came out last season and it was talking about all of the dysfunction that was going on with Howie Roseman. This was right before, right after they let go of Doug Peterson. So to see like how far they have come within the last season and all of the progress that he's made, just like listening, I say it all the time, reading the room. I think that that's so important. What areas needed to be addressed, and the fact that he targeted those areas this offseason means so much to not even the fan base, but like the other players on that team, paying attention. So I think that's good. I think you have to give him his flowers, like he deserves them, because you cannot say that this team going into this season is not stacked outside of like the safety position that is still like that hole. But the remainder of the roster is loaded. So all you can do is, thank Howie Roseman for doing what he had to do in order to stack this roster.
Right. Matt?
No, I totally agree with you. I think that at this point you might have to you might, in terms of talent, you might be better off playing, quarters with the extra, or a dime with the five corners, because I really don't think that if a team really, say the Eagles get up on somebody 31-13 and it's the fourth quarter and they start airing it out, I really do think that Anthony Harris seems like a great guy, looks like he plays hard, but I think he's a liability if they're going to be airing it out. Marcus Epps is coming along, pretty good young safety, but he's not like having a honey badger, nothing like a Cam Chancellor or Earl Thomas. And so you have people with that kind of talent at other positions on the Eagles. So if you're nitpicking, this isn't even nitpicking. This is kind of just like identifying a obvious, you look at every other position group. That is the one. It used to be linebacker for the Eagles.
Yes.
Now,
yeah.
Now linebacker is a strength of this. I mean, they're kind of loaded at it.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but they're kind of loaded at the linebacker position. I don't know if y'all agree with me, but
I do.
Well, I mean, my take of it is, the talks of they're going to a 3-4. They might mix it up. I mean, they brought in Kazir White from the Chargers, who I believe led the Chargers in tackles. Like, he was an underrated signing. Hassan Reddick, who had 23.5 sacks the last 2 years.
Yep.
Just beefing up that defensive line. Kyron Johnson, I believe they drafted him out of Kansas. He's supposed to be playing with a high motor. Also, Milton Williams, who Howie drafted last year, the gravedigger, Margrave, and, I think his defensive line is going to be stacked, from side to Josh Sweat, coming off a nice year, Brandon Graham, coming off that Achilles, which I think at 33, 34, hopefully he can bounce back to BG of old. So
I don't know about BG of old, but good BG. I don't know about. I don't know if that guy's coming back. I hope.
But the man always has a special place in all our hearts.
Oh yeah, and he might still be good. And I was thinking, obviously, this wasn't somebody I was hoping that we would re-sign it, but we did. And after I got over it, as I was getting over it, Derek Barnett. In the 2017 run, I'm thinking back, he didn't just make the recovery in the Super Bowl. He made like a big play Eagles are up 14-7. Vikings are driving. He swats it out. You know, if he can stay on sides until the play starts, he could be an impact player.
Yeah. Minimize them.
And not leading the NFL in offsides.
Yes.
As
But I think the
last
Eagles
year.
are in a good position, like we were talking about when you're looking at like the line, the defensive side of the ball. The fact that outside of safety, they will be able to have like these battles going into training camp. That is a good place.
Right.
Like we can brag about that and say, you know, we have so much young talent right now that we can pick and choose from. So I think that that's a really good place to be in, and something that fans should be excited, you know, as we get closer to training camp.
So, Rachel,
absolutely.
I would like to ask you, since you do get to cover the game a bit closer than me, you're talking to the quarterback and all that, so clearly got the street cred. So, what is Kayvon Wallace? Is he not progressing at the speed that the Eagles were expecting? Because I don't hear anybody really talking about him. Okay, so what is it that you're seeing? What is it that they're not satisfied with in his game?
I don't know if it's, how do we know it's not like them just giving him an opportunity? Because we look, of course, at like the Marcus Epps and the Anthony Harris, who definitely are giving that shine, but maybe it's them just not giving him opportunity. We know that it's so early right now in the offseason. They could be having their eyes on somebody on a completely different team. Like I was listening to the Birds with Friends podcast, and they were talking about how, you know, just different people who the Eagles could have their eye on. And one of the players that they brought up was from the Baltimore Ravens, Chuck Clark. Hadn't even thought about that.
I would love that.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't even know if it's like I just feel like maybe that's just a situation where they haven't gave him too much of the opportunity to develop, and he might not get that opportunity with the Eagles. It might be a system type of deal. So I don't know. We just aren't seeing it. And if they bring in somebody like Chuck Clark, then he's really not going to get that opportunity. So I mean, it sucks.
Might be a Kirk Coleman though, and go to like a Carolina and lead the league in picks. Didn't Kirk Coleman go and lead?
I believe he did with the Carolina Panthers. Also today, if I heard right, didn't Landon Collins officially get released by Washington? So I mean, from your standpoint, do you believe, you know, the Eagles could pursue him on a 1-year deal?
I don't.
If he has
I like him as a linebacker
more.
At this point, I like him more as a linebacker because he's always been kind of a slower, like an Anthony Harris. This isn't Landon Collins like Pro Bowl Landon Collins. We're getting some attrition in his game. So,
I mean,
I don't know if that's speed wise, if that's really going to change anything. You might just want to just keep Anthony Harris.
Right. To me, the only reason they brought Anthony Harris back was just the system of Jonathan Gannon, pretty much. And just
Shashere is supposed to be able to be interchangeable. They got Tay Gowan is a little light. I don't think he could play that.
Tay Gowan.
Yeah.
From one they came over in the Zach Ertz trade from Arizona last year in the 5th round pick.
And I heard some talking about Avonte Maddox potentially, but he was so good in the slot last year. I don't know if you want to mess that up.
Hands down, why?
Yeah,
good friend.
Talk about a lot of things.
Got a question here from a good friend of the show, Sean Kilmer. Sean, thanks for checking in. What's up, guys? I hope the Eagles get Bates from Cincinnati. From Cincinnati, trade Samalo or Rieger. What's your take of that?
I was looking into Rieger situation, and I feel strongly that he needs to go. When we're looking at the wide receiver room, we are strong. Like, we are loaded. We don't need Rieger. He's not benefiting. I think that, you know, when we're looking at what we could get back from him, it's post June 1. So I know things are like different now. Like the amount of money that we could get back when we're looking at dead money versus like cap savings and all of that, it's not going to be probably as much as we would want. But why do we need him anymore? I was looking and it said like June 1 dead money will be 3.6 million, cap savings about 13,000 compared to like post June 1, which would be 1.1 million, cap savings which would be 1.8 million. but why do we need Jalen Reagor? Like, we've already seen
Right.
that he does not fit in this system. We gave him chances. So at this point, let him go. Like, we'll take whatever we can get for him, but there's no need for him to be on this roster, especially after they just brought in AJ Brown. We already have Devontae Smith. We already have Quez Watkins, who has kind of got pushed down in the
Right.
wide receiver depth chart. So why keep him on this roster? I feel like get whatever you can get for him, but I think he needs to go. It's just not benefiting him being on this in this system.
A lot of when you touch on the receiving core, I mean, nobody talks about Zach Pascal.
Zach
It
Pascal
was,
too.
Mhm.
I haven't really heard his. I was watching a show on NBC Philly Sports last night with Barrett Brooks and Dave Zingaro was on, but nobody really touched on Zach Pascal. Everybody forgets about Greg Ward too. Like
Greg Ward.
Greg Ward, definitely has to be ahead of Jalen
I would
Reagor
hope
at this
so.
point.
Oh my God, I might just be done as a fan. if training camp is over and we keep Jalen Reagor over Greg Ward, I would.
It can't happen. It can't happen.
It's a bridge too far. I'm done.
I mean, I know Greg Ward got re-upped in the offseason, but I mean the guy's been reliable every time.
Oh, yeah.
You would throw to him.
Yeah.
Oh, and before I say what I got to say about Jalen Reagor, I do want to recognize that I'm talking about Jalen Reagor, the football player, because right now I know he's going through a family thing that is very real.
Okay.
And I don't want to be insensitive to that. I'm talking about Jalen Reagor, the football player. I've said for months, while people have been talking about the possibility of us getting anything for Reagor, we're not getting anything for Reagor, y'all.
Yeah.
We're not, unless he's getting matched like this. And Sean, great point. If he's getting packaged with Sayamalu, we might get a good deal. Something might happen, but nobody's trading up straight up for Jalen Reagor.
Well, now you got me thinking now. I mean, where's our Sega Whiteside fit in all this?
He's at tight end now.
mean,
he plays tight end. You know that, right?
I know they're going to experiment with him at tight end, but
experiment or cut. That's what's happening here.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the only reason he's made the team is special teams. As the last year.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Also, Rachel, since you said you covered the Washington football team,
Commanders now.
Commanders now.
Yeah.
I got to think before I say the other.
Yes.
The old word. Because it's just all embedded in you for years and
for many years.
And the thing of it is what's your take of the Washington Commanders going forward with Carson Wentz?
I mean, I think it's going to be interesting for the Eagles because now we have Drew Davis. So the fact that we're going to be able to see him twice a year, that's going to be really, really exciting for us. But I mean, good for them. I think when we look at Washington, like that entire franchise is just not in a good place right now. They have a lot going on when you look at like ownership down. So good for them. But how many quarterbacks have they had? I don't even know. I've lost count in the last few seasons. How many quarterbacks have they had? So to me, it's like good for you, but they're not a team that we're worried about. When we look at the contenders from the NFC East, Washington is not one of those teams. We all know that the competition is Eagles, Cowboys for sure. So like I said, good for them. They have Carson Wentz. Look what happened with him in Indianapolis last year. So he's not a threat in my opinion.
If Frank Reich gave up on him, I mean, that says a lot.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm on the other side of the DMV. I'm on the Northern Virginia side.
Right. Okay.
And so, I mean, we run into people like Jason Campbell or people like that all the time. There's like so many people like they're the guy. Yeah. And Carson Wentz is going in with such a complex here. I mean, not to try to like heap on extra pressure, but the pressure is just there. It's the elephant in the room. He's at a point, if they go like 5-12 or, 4-13, he might not be a starting quarterback in the NFL anymore. Yeah. From early first round pick to backup.
Yeah. I mean, I think the entire franchise is just sad. Like I honestly feel bad for the fans that I know in this area, my friends and families who support that team. I feel bad for them because it's like you've had so much drama over the last few years, and Carson Wentz is not going to be your savior. He's not.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Well, same with Ron Rivera. I mean, talk about, one of the top coaches in the NFL, and he probably, you'd like to see him succeed
Yeah.
after going, his battle with cancer.
Yes.
But can the poor guy turn that franchise around? That's the question.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think he stabilized I think this patient was in the ICU, and they're still at the hospital.
Yeah.
But they're doing okay. I think that franchise has been a failure for the entirety of my time living here, at least. And I've lived in the DMV for I lived in Richmond for some years, but other than that, I've lived in the DMV for 15 years.
Yes.
And,
yes. Right. Okay.
and it has been, but for like 1 or 2 years, just complete ineptitude. Chase
Young was exciting he's exciting for them, But other than that, like, what are you excited about when you look at that franchise, when you look at that team?
The Giants too. I mean, I'm so glad that people continue to try to act like Daniel Jones is a good quarterback.
Okay,
because keep him there. Keep him.
Okay, right. Yeah. Yeah, no. Like I said, no competition. We're not worried.
Other than the Cowboys, how you feel about the Cowboys?
I mean, I think that conversation comes down to quarterback. And that's why it's like, okay, because they've had a lot of stuff. They didn't have the best offseason this year. When you look at what they've done this offseason, the Eagles by far have definitely been much better than they have done. But I think that the question that remains when you're looking at the Eagles is, regardless of all of the additions this offseason, is what can Jalen Hurts do? Can he make these necessary improvements? And I think that right now, when we're looking at Jalen Hurts versus Dak Prescott, we know who's the more reliable, who's the better quarterback. And so that's why I'm saying, looking at the two of them.
And they have to pay Dak. So when you pay your quarterback the way that the Cowboys have already had any team, the Arizona Cardinals are about to be in this boat. Yeah. When you start paying these quarterbacks, the Broncos, I think they're going to get good return, but you get less of a return on the rest of your roster.
Yeah.
And so, the comments that Jerry Jones made the other day were ridiculous, where he was talking about that the Cowboys have improved because they lost Amari Cooper and they're going to bring CeeDee Lamb to be number one. I mean, that doesn't make you a better football team.
Okay.
Sean has another question saying, time to move on from the JJ Arcega-Whiteside. It's Deadweight. Fitzmagic retired today after 17 years. Just talk about a guy that, bounced around the league for quite some time.
I wouldn't have minded Fitzpatrick a time or two for the Eagles. I feel the way he catches fire kind of fit the way the Eagles love to have these backup quarterbacks come in and save the day. I feel like Fitz could have got on a run here.
Hey, just had some magic, down in Tampa and Buffalo and
Miami.
Right, just a lot of places. Actually, I want to switch gears a little bit and touch on the NBA Finals starting probably in about a half hour or so.
Cool.
So, Rachel, you being a Brooklyn Nets fan.
Oh, yes.
I know we talked about that. Wow. Okay. Thanks for taking, our dead weight for pretty much. I'm not going to rip James Harden. I like the trade. I give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I still think if he can get himself back in shape, he can prove us all wrong.
Yeah.
And that $47 million
that
he opted in for. But, just diving into the Warriors and the Celtics, got some nice matchups. Marcus Smart going to go up against Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum going up against Wiggins. What's your take of this NBA Finals starting tonight?
I mean, I'm excited for it. Knowing that I am a Kyrie Irving fan, you guys should know who
Right.
I'm pulling for because of who sent us home. So of
Right.
course I'm pulling for the Warriors. And I mean, I think it's exciting. I was pulling for the Heat, of course, but I do think that the Celtics make it more interesting. I do think that if the Heat would have made it out of the East, it wouldn't have been as competitive. So I think that Jason Tatum alone, Jaylen Brown alone are gonna definitely be players that you need to watch. Like you said, Mark, like top ranked defense. That's something. It's gonna be a challenge for the Warriors. I'm excited from Steph Curry's perspective because I think that he needs this ring so much more than we are really talking about just because of his legacy. When we think about his legacy, what this means to him is so exciting, thinking that, if he wins this, he's going to be, in the conversation with LeBron James. They're both going to have 4 rings. So it's like, we already know he's changed the game, the impact that he's had on the game alone, best shooter of all time. But I'm pulling for the Warriors. I think it's going to be a challenge for them, but I'm pulling for Warriors in 6. That's what I have as my prediction.
And your take, Matt?
Well, first of all, so if pulling for your team, I feel that because I get like that sometimes when my team is out too. Yeah. But doesn't it, just playing devil's advocate here, Raichele?
Yeah.
Doesn't it make more sense for because y'all got swept? So
yes.
If y'all got swept by the NBA champions, or if y'all got swept by somebody who got put out in 6 in the finals?
No, I'm still recovering. So no,
okay,
I don't want
okay.
to.
So with that said, I think Warriors in 7.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a great series. I think you might have like 1 or 2 blowouts, but I think every other game is going to be like a 4-point, 8-point game. And I'm excited to see. I wish you could place prop bets. I was talking to my buddy Etan Shander about this. I was saying,
oh yes, I know
Etan. He was talking about if you placing a prop bet for the first person to get a technical foul during the finals. And obviously the prohibitive favorite there is going to be Draymond.
Yes.
Right.
Second, I was thinking Marcus Smart because Draymond might get under his skin.
For sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. So
it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, like I'm excited for it. And just seeing, like, especially when looking at the Warriors, you could say that with the Celtics too. They're experienced team, but they have young talent too that's coming up. When you look at like the Jordan Poole, when you look at Wiggins, like they're younger players. So I mean, that's cool that they're getting this experience too. I just think it makes it even more exciting for them. So I can't wait to see how this is gonna play out.
So if you don't mind, Fuji, I got a question for her.
Okay.
Sure. Fire away. Excuse me. No, it's just like choking here. I'm good though.
So how high do you think Steph goes? Say he has an MVP. He has like a legit MVP. Nobody can really take it from him and say, no. They just gave it to him because of the sentimentality.
Yeah.
If Steph really goes out and averages 32 for this finals, clearly wins MVP, how high? I've heard some people say top 10.
Yes.
I'll give you top 10.
I say top 10 without MVP finals.
Wow.
Like, I think you could, just the fact that he has changed the game. When you look at that component alone, if he gets another ring, we look at LeBron like he is, you know what I'm saying? People look at him like they praise the ground that he walks on. And if Steph Curry gets this 4th ring, this is the 4th ring with one franchise. LeBron James has 4 rings with different franchises. So it's like people are breaking their necks to come to the Warriors to play with Steph Curry. So yes, if he wins this, regardless if he gets a finals MVP or not, Steph Curry should be in the category of top 10 for sure.
Oh, so in the conversation, but because if he is in the top 10, like who are we nudging out? Like Larry Bird, Kobe?
I feel like that's different. That's going to be definitely different for everybody. Not Kobe. You can't nudge out Kobe. No.
That's what I'm saying. These are great players. Shaq, Hakeem Olajuwon.
That's good. I don't know.
Pretty good company there.
Yes.
Phenomenal company, really.
I don't know if I already said Tim Duncan.
You didn't say that yet.
No, you didn't say
Magic,
him.
Kareem.
I have Magic in my top 10 for sure. That's hard. That's all of them game changers.
I feel like
I
if
don't
I'm
know.
gonna nudge anybody out, I gotta take. If I have to fit Steph in the top 10, if you make me gun to my head, obviously, you know, not the best euphemism at the moment, but I would say Larry Bird if I had to take one out. But it's
I'm not arguing with you.
because all the rest of those, I mean, Wilt Chamberlain or Bill
Yeah.
Russell. I mean, it's
That is so hard. That is
the thing of it is, everybody, so many people, a lot of different critics. You know, you want to talk around the water cooler, sitting at the bar. Just everybody has like a different top 10.
Yes.
It just seems it's just like the Jordan, LeBron. You know,
I didn't say Michael Jordan,
I'm gonna
LeBron.
say you didn't say that. Yeah.
So
Well,
it's a
I
lot.
mean-
That's a lot of names, and if you do that, then somebody will say you disrespected somebody, and maybe they're right.
But that's what makes the argument fun. Like that's what makes the whole conversation fun because nobody's gonna have the same list. So
I mean, if you're going to talk rings, I mean, Bill Russell with 11, but
okay,
it's just the different. You know, that Celtics teams he played on was just the dominant era too.
Yeah.
Sean,
I mean, I think he's in the conversation. I would say for sure that there's no if I'm having a basketball conversation with somebody and they say even right now, to your point, Raichele, if somebody said even right now that he's not top 15, then the conversation's over.
Yeah.
But top 10, I think there will be people because when I see a lot of the top 10s, they're putting Kobe at that back end of it. And for me, I feel like I think
that would be a definite
higher.
Yeah. How high do you guys have Kobe? If you had to just off the top of your head,
he would definitely be in my top 10. For me, my grade, and I think it also depends. Like I've heard the conversations that it depends on who your top 10 are, but that's like who you grew up watching. You go so like I can't really speak to like the Larry Bird. I didn't see him. You know what I'm saying? I can speak on Michael Jordan. I saw the back end. I've gone back and watched those highlights and stuff. But of course, like the younger generation, they're gonna be able to touch to LeBron James. You know,
exactly.
So that's tricky too.
Yeah, people are not just, you know, that's just almost sacrilegious talking about Bamba out of the top 10 to what Sean said. I mean, people, you get in a fight somewhere saying something like that.
Mamba? Hold up.
Actually, you got Angel checking in from Tampa, the first round on the Southeast Division semifinals. We just wanted to thank you, Raichele and Matt, for joining the show.
For sure.
And everybody watching.
Appreciate thanks, Angel.
Guys coming on.
Killing it, man.
Back to Sean, he did make a comment saying, I see Drummond coming back. To be honest, check this out. Andre Drummond shared a message on his Instagram story. It's pretty wild that he had 4 20 rebound games during his time in Philly.
Drummond is back? When did that happen?
I guess he made some type of comment on Instagram.
I didn't know that. I didn't see that.
Check that out.
I guess it's better than DeAndre Jordan. People were sick of DeAndre Jordan at the
Talk about, the tail end of the career. Angel checks in, says Titans down by 8, 59-51.
Okay.
So, as far as excuse me, I was choking earlier. As far as pretty much, I believe that that's everything we can cover. I know the game's coming on in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'd like to thank you, Raichele, for coming on, Matt.
Yeah. For sure.
I'd like to just send a couple shout outs to our sponsors. DJ Montage, if you could bring that up, please. If you could. Sponsorship, Tampa Joe's down there, restaurant and bar. Everybody down in the Tampa area, check out Mike and everybody at Tampa Joe's, the Philly of the South headquarters. When you're down there in Tampa, go to Tampa Joe's. You won't miss a beat there. Great food, great atmosphere. Also, Philly sports trips. Check out the Philly sports trips. Vince and the guys will take care of you there. The best in the business. All the Eagles trips. Click on phillysports.com. You can sign up for your Eagles road trip right now. Also, Larry, LG Direct, Business Sales Solutions. Check out Larry Gilman and all his apparel up here in Philly and down there in Tampa at 855-777-3863. Also, again, I wanted to thank Rachel, yourself, and Matt for coming on tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Bear with me. I'm usually not in this hot seat, so as you can see,
you did great.
He usually just gets to let Angel run the show,
okay.
and then he just hates on Howie Roseman and talks about how much he hates Howie Roseman.
Ever. I don't.
Hopefully, you're giving him some kudos after these last 2 off seasons.
I am. Also, Rachel, Matt, if you could share out on the show with all our great viewers here, where your Twitter feeds are.
Yeah, mine's on the screen. Mine's Politidope. It's POLITIDOPE, and you had it on the screen there a second ago. Honorable mention podcast. That's my sports podcast. I have some pretty awesome people on, and really the slant that I want to take on it is a lot of people have like current athletes and folks like that. I like to kind of dive into the sports through the eyes of people like Rachel and really, because they get to have these kind of moments that they don't even need to put on the record, but they understand these teams better than other folks can. So they can kind of give you insights into what, like the question that I asked her earlier, if people go back and listen about Kayvon Wallace, you can kind of see through their eyes how the team is seeing people, how they progress. I'm very into doing that. So I love to have people on who cover the game. Obviously had some former athletes like Preston Wilson, former MLB All-Star, but I've loved doing this. My background is more in politics but people have many talents. And so I'm trying to share my perspective. With Philly sports fans, we get a pretty bad rap. So I think that I have like a reasonable take to because I don't live in the Philly area anymore, but I think it brings people in and gives a different face, because we're not all, yes, we love our teams, but we don't, all want to fight. At least not every game.
Yeah,
you're live right there, Lincoln Financial Field.
Yeah, that's right. I'm in the press box. Game is going on.
Hey,
side of the end zone.
Nice.
Rachel, you could touch on your Twitter.
For sure.
handle.
Like I mentioned, Raichele Privette, audio producer for BGN Radio. I also have a show called Above the Nest with Raichele that goes out once a week. It's usually like 5 to 10 minutes or briefly recapping what went down with the Birds earlier that week. And I also do a show with my amazing co-host. I call him the QB expert. His name is Mark Schofield. It's called the QB Factory Reboot. And we talk about the quarterbacks and, what's going on from that lens. And so we have so many amazing shows on the BGN Radio feed, including BGN Radio with Jimmy Kempski and Brandon Lee Gout. And so make sure you guys, if you don't already subscribe to BGN Radio, we have a YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that too. You can follow us on Instagram at Bleeding Green Insta. You can follow us on Twitter at BGN_radio. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Raichele Monique, and that's RAICHELE MONIQUE. But thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it.
We appreciate Angel, myself, all the crew, Matt,
Yeah.
DJ Montage. We appreciate you coming on. We got to have you back on during the season.
Awesome. Take care, y'all.
Yes.
Thanks.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend. Enjoy. Be safe out there. Love your family, because today you just never know. Everybody have a good weekend. Happy Friday. That's all for tonight. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the night. Go Birds.